Christine and Ariana, and this is This One Life, the podcast where we untangle the beautiful mess of being a woman in your 30s, think mindset, self growth, and the stuff that no one warns you about. Today, you are getting a solo episode from me, Christine, and I want to take you behind the scenes of how I approach routines, especially morning routines. And it's not as a checklist, but as an energetic foundation for becoming the next level version of yourself. And I will also take you through how you can create your own. So, my approach to routines in general is that they're flexible and change based on the season that I'm in. Probably sounds a bit counterintuitive, but let me explain it more thoroughly. For me, routines can change based on the season of life that you're in. So I don't see a year as a linear year. More divided into seasons of focusing on health, seasons of focusing on work or just maintaining myself, or a real season of relaxing and rebalancing the nervous system. That's how I divide, or a season of hustling, that's how I divide the year or my life. I divide them into seasons. So I use the routines to embody the person that I want to become, because habits that routines are made of from change your identity. They eventually become a part of your identity. And also think small steps equals big transitions or big results over time. So using that routine and adding those small steps into you becoming the next version of yourself is a good way of doing it. I use the routine to embody the next version of me, and eventually I'm becoming that version because I'm doing the routine. So another reason why I also love routines, or especially morning routines, is that it sets me up for success throughout the day. It really gets me into that amazing mood. It keeps me there. I really see the difference when I do a morning routine versus when I'm not able to, because life happens, like sometimes you have those quick, chaotic, crazy mornings where you can't do anything and you're just frustrated. Those mornings when I actually follow through my morning routine those days are usually amazing. I'm able to keep my energy throughout that day, which I just love. And when it comes to these morning routines, I also encourage you to keep them flexible and not aim for perfection. So my approach to the morning routine specifically is that, first of all, it's the season. So depending on the season that I'm in, there's a specific focus on my morning routine. So, for example, now I'm focusing on my desires, getting back into the mindset of living my desires, like reaching my desires. So I'm journaling on them and journaling as they have already happened. And I'm also focusing on health, or more like fitness. So Pilates or having a walk in the day, it's also a focus of mine. So Pilates has become a part of my morning routine because I want it to happen. If I don't do it in my morning routine, it's easier for me to go back in the old identity and not choose to do it. That's also why I love morning routines, because it keeps you, if you do it then, it's already done. And you're so proud of yourself for accomplishing that thing that is hard for you to accomplish. So it's really like it just sets you up for success throughout the day, because you have already done the hard part. The rest of the day is easy. Respect yourself enough to do that. So in my morning routine, I'm also pretty flexible, meaning I don't love when things are rigid. I love to use my intuition. So that's something new. I started to do that this year, basically. But I really feel a difference, because before I had my morning routine, but then eventually I felt like so frustrated, because when I fell off the wagon, like I didn't do it, I just felt frustrated, angry, and then suddenly felt like a chore instead of something fun, which it should be. It should be fun. It should feel good. It shouldn't feel like another chore you have to do every day. Then we don't want to do it, right? So now I have a more intuitive approach to my morning routine. I have a couple of specific things that I would love to do. But each morning I ask myself, I actually ask my body or my mind, what do I feel like doing today? I can take a real life example. So I do meditation and journaling. And when it comes to journaling, I do specifically, I work on my desires and writing them as they have already happened. And also like the next level me, that I'm already that person. But sometimes it's so in front of my mind, it's not something I need to remind myself about again. So then I'm honest. I'm like, okay, today I don't need to do the journaling. Also, I don't have lots of time, so time is precious. I don't need to do the journaling because I remember my next level self. I am that person now. I know my desires, they have happened. So let's just jump to the meditation because I need peace and quiet. Or let's just jump to the Pilates because that's what I feel like today to start my day with. So I'm keeping a flexible approach within my morning routine. And I think that's the key personally for me to keep my routine for a longer period of time. And routines in general, I find them an amazing tool for embodying your next level self. Okay, they are amazing. I will give you an example. If you want to become someone who has, for example, great health and are fit, how would their morning routine look like? Step into that person's mind, they who already are fit, who already have that as routine, who has that as a non-negotiable actually. How would their morning routine look like? They will maybe get out of bed pretty early, put on their workout clothes that they have already put out or on a chair the evening before. They will probably do a workout in the morning and maybe after that eat a clean organic breakfast, focus on drinking enough water throughout the day. Or maybe also they would do something for their mental health, like journaling on their thoughts or doing a short meditation or just take some deep belly breaths to rebalance the nervous system. If you want to embody someone who you are not yet, you need to ask yourself, who do I want to become? How are his or her routines? And the most important thing is their values. What are their values? Because we tend to act based on our values. So if they have health and fitness as a value, they act based on that, right? So the key here is to understand the person that you want to embody, that you want to become, and then create your routine based on that. And usually the reason why we don't follow through is because we don't identify ourselves yet as the person who has already embodied those habits and that has the routine that we want. So if you are a person who really cared about their fitness, even on hard days, you will work out as that will be a non-negotiable for you. Do you see that mindset change? I find that this is actually the hard work to keep reminding yourself of who you are, that you are the next level self right now in this moment. Even when you don't fully believe it yourself, you need to just act as if, and it will eventually become a part of your identity. The thing that seems so hard to do is something that is a non-negotiable for that next level you. And therefore, if you just do it, it becomes, as I said, an ingrained habit and eventually a part of your identity. And it's that simple, but it's also that hard. I want to talk a bit about my current morning routine. I had it for probably a month right now and it works very smooth right now. My toddler wakes up at around 6, so we both wake up at that time. Then I have my coffee. I get my toddler ready for kindergarten, and then I'm waking and feeding the baby, getting her ready for the day. I have started to put on some, it's called activations, but it's basically like good vibe music, good energy music with some kind of affirmation words. I'm using an app for that and I will add it in the description. It's amazing. I really find it as a game changer, but you can just use good vibing music and that keeps you in a good mood. The next, I'm putting the baby to bed. I'm journaling about my desires as they have already happened. The reason why I'm doing this, so this is a little side note, but the reason why I'm doing this is because the brain doesn't really know the difference from what's happening in this 3D world that we live in physically and what's happening mentally in here. So if you you can trick your brain to make it feel like something is real. If you just visualize it and then add the emotion, brain doesn't know the difference from what's happening in there in your mind because you're already like you're seeing it in front of you, even though your eyes are closed, and you also feel the emotion as if it's happening right now. And it's really amazing. It's an amazing way to abstract your desires and manifest. So that's what I'm doing. I also meditate for around 15 minutes. I'm really trying to focus on that because I need it. There's so much going on in my brain. So I'm using a mantra meditation to create space and make all my thoughts literally go away because I don't want anything up here in here. I want it to be empty and peaceful. The reason why I'm doing that is because around 80% or more of the thoughts we had yesterday, we repeat them in our mind today, which is unnecessary, right? I want to have space for new thoughts, new creative ideas. That's why I'm doing that. And I have done it before. I've been really religious with that before, and it worked so well. It's really amazing how much peace inside your mind you get. So I'm focusing on doing that now as well because I need that. When you have two kids and just like a family, a husband as well, like there's so much going on. There's so much to remember, and it tends going on repeat. So I don't want any of that. I would love to get fresh ideas in my mind and just keep it peaceful because that really helps on me being balanced. So that's the reason why I'm doing that. And next one, I'm figuring out what Instagram post I will post or what idea I will record that day. And then next, I'm focusing on doing Pilates or walking that day. So there's a technique that you can use that is called habit stacking. And you can use it if you find it hard to incorporate new things into your routine. Habit stacking is essentially you stacking a lot of habits on top of each other. So you find one thing that you already do in your routine, and then you add another element to that routine. You add it right after the thing that you are usually doing. So if you want to start flossing your teeth, very general example here, you can consciously add that as the next thing that you do right after your habit of already brushing your teeth. That's the way to just incorporate it and remember it and make it go more easily for you. So let's talk a bit about you creating your own routine. First off, I would start to write down what you do in the morning to become conscious of your current routine because only when we are aware of where we are, we can change it to get to where we want to be. Because often we do all of this on autopilot. So you need to be conscious or aware of it. Then after, I would reflect on what season are you in right now? What is important to you in this period? For example, when I was in a season of writing my master thesis, I would add reading an article or half an article as a part of my morning routine. So I will wake up, have a coffee, and then I will start with that because that was the most important thing for me. And that was also the hardest thing for me to just start to get going on that big project. You know, I'm writing a thesis is an overwhelming process. So just having that part, reading the article as the be in my morning routine, it made it all smoother and the whole process pretty easy to be honest. And it was amazing because I was already proud of myself from doing the most important thing that day. So the rest of the day goes pretty smooth. And then when you have figured that out, what season you are in, I would check if what you do currently adds up to who you want to be or where you want to go. Because if not, then you need to adjust your routine accordingly. And if being in a season doesn't really resonate with you, but is more someone that you want to become, then reflect on who that is. Who do you want to become? What values does that person have? How is their routine in the morning? When does that person wake up? What does that person want to feel in the morning? What do they continue to do the rest of the day? Or even more importantly, how do they feel the rest of the day? What's their wind down routine before bed? Ask yourselves these questions and try to answer the best you can. After answering these questions, you will get a lot of answers and then you can put together your routine based on those answers. So in this episode, I have mostly just spoken about morning routines because I find them just essential for creating an amazing day. And keeping the great energy throughout the day. But of course, there are other routines that we have that is happening throughout the day. And maybe you have an evening routine or you have like a bedtime routine or something. So there's different routines that you can look into. It's important to remember that routines doesn't have to be long. They can be pretty short. It's just a couple of actions you are doing after each other, basically. So my nighttime routine, for example, is just me around 10 o'clock p.m. going to the bathroom, doing my skincare, changing into my night outfit, and then going to bed. Can be as easy as that. So I hope this episode resonated with you. And if you like it, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And we would also love to hear one of your non-negotiables in your morning routine. I feel like we all need some inspiration. You can never get enough inspiration. So please DM us on Instagram, comment on our YouTube video, or tag us in your story. Bye for now.